and I think Pete Garcia's background could be in that. Some form of organizational psychology, possibly. I know Jimmy Johnson was big on it. Jimmy Johnson used to give the Minneapolis personality test thing, where it was like, do you like to go to parties? It's very true, very false. That test, we've all done one of those somewhere in high school or college.
Yeah.
And, or they've asked you to job interview. And I think Jimmy Johnson used to give that, and he used to give that in the NFL, and then they made it, against the rules. You're not allowed to give that test today. There is one that they are allowed to give. And I'm not sure if they're allowed to give it, though, until you're hired. Like, there's a lot of stuff with giving a personality test before you're actually, like, drafted and hired, which I think is stupid. I think you should be able to do that outright as long as a psychologist is providing it. Now, should I be able to just walk in and give one? No. But should a psychologist? Yeah, I think you should be able to hire a psychologist who does a personality inventory test. I want to know if I've got a guy that's a born leader or isn't. I want to know if I've got somebody that's a sociopath, who is a known liar. I'd say you weed out the Aaron Hernandezes and get them out of here before they ever do any of this shit.
Yeah.
Helen Winslow Jr. was jacking off in the locker room in front of people. He shows so culture is only what you are allowed to do. And if you don't think he did that at Miami and that they just let him get away with it, Larry Coker was like, oh, golly gee, and just let him get away with it. I'm sure he was doing it there too.
What did he say to the reporters? I'm a damn soldier.
He was using his soldier quite a bit.
Yeah, okay.
They probably just had some intern stand in front of him with a towel or something.
Yeah.
Hey, Justin, man, it was awesome having you on. You definitely have to come on again. Just good times talking football, bro. Thanks again, bro.
Yeah, man, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, man. Go Canes.
Y'all have a good night.
Man,
it's good stuff, man.
That last Kellen Winslow line killed me.
Dude, we went way over time on that one, but it was worth it. I think we had him on for like 40 minutes. 45 minutes, maybe.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah, Justin's fun. He knows his stuff.
He does.
I'm glad we don't interview idiots.
Yeah. Dude, we've really had good luck, because it's not, for the listeners out there, we don't really have a strict screening process. We've kind of just been like, hey, you seem cool. Come on our show. And that could go horribly in so many ways.
If we had a screening process, I wouldn't even be able to host this darn thing.
Well, we started a screening process, and actually, Marsh isn't coming on the show ever again. So, no, I'm just kidding.
He's locked up in the Utah State Prison.
All right, so Tito is ready for us, brother.
I don't know how to pronounce his last name, so I'm just going to call him Tito.
Okay, yeah, I don't know either. So, I think it's Benach, but I don't know.
Benach, maybe?
Yeah, we'll ask him.
I should have YouTubed a clip of his name, and maybe it would come up.
All right, how do I do this? There it is. Okay. I'm going to patch Tito in right now. Tito, how you doing, man? You are live on the Forza podcast.
Oh, what's going on, guys? What's up?
Tito, it's Marsh. Thanks for coming on, brotder.
No problem, man. Glad to be on.
Good deal. So we now welcome on. How do you pronounce your last name, by the way?
Benach.
All right. We now welcome on Tito Benach. He is formerly with 560 WQAM in Miami. How long were you with those guys?
For about a year and a half.
Okay, so you were around the football program then pretty frequently.
Yeah. I'd go down. I'd be at the practices.
Okay. And Tito, have you always been? We've talked a little bit on Twitter, but I don't know too much. Are you from South Florida? Have you always been a Canes fan?
Yeah, born and raised, man. Yeah, born and raised a Canes fan. Went to USF just because I got the scholarship money there, but no, born and raised a Canes fan, and been rooting for them ever since I was a kid.
Okay. So, God willing, a football season, there will be a football season this year. How are you feeling about our Hurricanes in 2020?
Oh, man. It's such a tough question. I feel like it's really such a tough question. But I feel like, we say this every single year in the off season, but when I look at the schedule now and I look at the talent on the team, I cannot help myself but think it has to be around 9 wins. It has to be a 9-win or above team. And I think I would be happy with 8, and I know that I say that and that may drive some people upset, but I think if they win 9, and at least they just have to get to the championship game. They just have to. That's the most important thing to me. They got to win the Coastal, because I just think anything else at that point is disappointing.
Okay, because I'm glad you said 9 wins, because I'm predicting 9 wins. And when you started saying about the schedule, I'm like, oh God, this is sounding like every single Canes fan since 2008. And you're just like, oh, with the schedule, I thought you were gonna say 11-1.
No. I'm not. See, I think we always have this perception that the talent should always win out. And granted, I do think Miami has talent, but I just think the world of college football is too crazy to be a fan expecting 10+ wins every single year. I think we've seen even the greats fall off like that. But I mean, for Miami's sake, I think what helps is, there's just the teams around them in the Coastal are just really, outside of maybe Virginia Tech, and I don't know who else. I feel like I'm scratching the bottom of the barrel.
UNC will probably be
UNC, right? That's a good point. Yeah, UNC is probably they seem like probably the national favorite just because of their QB Sam Powell, right?
Yeah, Sam Howell.
Yeah, Sam Powell. So I think the national perspective is that they'll probably be the favorite to win the Coastal this year with Mac Brown. But I just think if the defense stays where it was at, and I do think that there's been talk about how Miami's linebackers could be more fit for the offense than I guess Pinckney and Quarterman were. While I don't think the linebacker play will get better, now that we have some guys who are a little bit more athletic,
it'll be different.
Yeah, it'll definitely be different. We'll see a lot more, that striker look that we like to see, where our defense is pretty versatile. But I just really have a hard time seeing more than 4 losses on the schedule. And I think anything else is an indictment on the coaching staff at that point.
I hear you. And let me ask you this. I'm backtracking a little bit. What season were you with 560? What year were you there for?
2017, when the second year of Richt, when he went off, when he went to the Orange Bowl.
Compare that season to 2019.
Oof, Jesus Christ.
Because you were around the program during the best season since 2003. And then we just came off this year where we went 6 and 7. What was the difference like? What was the feeling around Coral Gables and the University of Miami in 2017?
The buzz was completely different. I mean, entering 2017, I think what we still have and what everyone kind of looks to continuously identify this team as is a defensive beast. I think at that point we were talking about guys like Jaquan Johnson. We were in just the second year of Quarterman and McLeod and Pinckney, and that defensive line. That defensive line has an incredible amount of players, guys who are going to be in the NFL. I think the difference, honestly, is now Miami moving to this, Rhett Lashley spread up-tempo offense. And people have been calling for it for a while. I think, with Richt, it kind of felt like he had a traditional pro spread offense or spread read option offense that wasn't up tempo, and the play calling was pretty generic for that standpoint. I think 2019 was just the hope that Enos could ascend this offense to new heights with the same personnel. I think that was somewhat of an issue. I thought, the hype around, a lot of the hype was around Tate Martell, and that the defense would stay where it was at. But it's crazy to think that 3 years ago we were coming off of the Orange Bowl, now we've kind of entered back into a little bit of just wallowing in mediocrity. But I mean, it's going to be interesting. I think Lashley has the potential to kind of fix some of the issues that we've seen from the offensive side.
So I have a question for you, Tito. Being around the team and the program in 2017, did you get? I mean, how close were you to like the cultural inner workings of the program? I'm really curious is like the personality of the program and how some of those moving parts were working. Like, did you get to see, I mean, interaction between coaches and players, administrators, and how we were dealing with personalities and that type of stuff?
I was probably I wouldn't say I was that close. I'd probably say I was a little bit farther from that in the sense of seeing coaches and players at practice, coming off the field, occasional practice viewing sessions. And I feel like there was a lot of structure with Richt. And I think that one thing that Richt doesn't get enough credit for was he definitely improved the culture at Miami. I think, during the golden years, there was guys who kind of just had that clock in, clock out mentality. And it hit a real low point during the golden years. And I can confirm that through stories and things that I've heard. But I think for the most part, Rick did establish a culture of, guys who want to play football, who want to be out there and getting the program back to the right level of maturity. I think in 2019, we kind of saw, some mishaps with the locker room and things that happened with, Jaron Williams and numerous other players. Jeff Thomas, obviously, is the kind of name that comes to mind. But I mean, I would say I think the biggest thing that Rick doesn't get enough credit for was he kind of improved the image of what Miami football was, not only inside the locker room but from outside.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really believe that 2017 team or even the 2016 team, which was also pretty successful besides the 4-game losing streak. I don't really believe that those rosters were that much more talented than, other teams we've had in the last 20 years. I think there's a few times that we've had a similar collection of talent. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, and hopefully you can shed some light on this, but I'm more of a believer that it was, Rick's structure and the culture, like what you're talking about, that kind of willed us to that. I mean, what did we go on, like a 15, 16 game winning streak or something like that? And
Yeah.
I'm with you. I don't think he gets enough credit in that. I mean, our program at many points in the last 20 years has kind of been a turd, and I feel like he kind of gold-plated the turd for 2 years, and then kind of got, then we kind of saw the turd resurface his last season.
Yeah, you're right. I think you're right in that aspect. I think what to view the Richt hire in a sense of like a 2-year plan was we needed to get back to recruiting well-fined athletes at Miami. I think there was a point there. I mean, they got worse as the years went on, but during the golden years, and that he was just taking kids purely from their camp performance and not like, reviewing highlight tapes, talking with coaches, and ignoring, guys who perform when the lights are on Friday night as compared to just taking a kid who has a very good camp. There's a number of names that could go into that category, but I think he did that. And I think, like you said, from a structural standpoint, like I think Miami has always had this stereotypical image of being a dominant defense. And I think under Rick, we got back to that. And I don't know if this last year was a drop off because Manny's no longer calling the plays, although he has his hands on involved in that process, from what I understand. But I think the saving glory of what Rick did was he had some pretty solid recruiting classes while he was at Miami, and he landed some guys that are even still here to this point that are still proving to be successful football players. I think DJ Dallas, obviously, He was only here 3 years, but in his 3 years at Miami, he played a